Hi everyone, today I'm going to be tying an olive dry fly parachute style. Okay, and I'll be showing you a technique to lift the hackles away from the body. So here we go. The first thing we do is we put a hook into the vise, and the hook I'm using is an Anrex FW503. It's the dry fly light, and it's from the freshwater series, and it's a 14. Now for the dubbing, I'm going to be using Kapok dubbing from Deer Creek, and this comes in a variety of colours. This is the light olive, it goes to mayfly, to cream, but today I'm going to be using a medium olive. Okay, now to suit the colour of the body, you select a silk to match, and this is Nano Silk from Semperfly, and it's the 18O. Well, the first thing we do, we catch on about half a dozen turns from the eye and lay half a dozen turns onto the hook to secure our thread. Cut the waste away. The next stage we've got to do is to create a tail, and for that we take a neck hackle, and this one is a natural dun. We take a few fibres, pull them to the side like so, pull them off, hold them in a right hand, offer them to the hook with the right hand, get the length required, make sure they sit nice and square like so, catch them with the left hand and pinch a loop twice, roll them so they're on top of the shank the way we want them to be, pull tight, lift the fibres and tie your tail down to the finish position that you want it, which is roughly there. Spin the hook around, make sure it's sitting all nice and tidy on the actual spine of the hook. That's nice. Bring your silk up, trim the waste away, and that's our tail secured. Neaten everything up. Now from the eye of the hook, come down about 10 or maybe a dozen turns and stop. This is going to be the position where we're actually going to set our wing or our post. Okay, and for that I'm going to be using polywing. I must have had this in my box for 20 years. I think it's the Davy Watton polywing. I'm not quite sure. That's why I haven't shown the packet. But whatever post you want to use, that is up to you. So when we got the silk there, place the wing on top, pinch a loop, tighten. Pull the material upwards, straighten it, and secure it on the hook with a few turns in the front and a few turns at the back, so it's like so. Make sure we're sitting on top of the hook, and there we are. That's our post tied in. If we just twist the material together, it just brings all the fibres neatly and keeps them out of the way. Excuse me. Right, for our body, we take a pinch of our dubbing, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pan out slightly so you can actually see me dubbing the material onto the silk. Get a pinch of the dubbing, pull it between our fingers just to loosen the fibres up. Yes, like so. Just a little bit of preparation. Okay, now we take little by little, it's hardly anything, place it on and dub. And this dubbing, if you've never used it, it is absolutely fantastic for dries, because as you can see it, you put it on, you tighten it, and it just goes to nothing. It tightens up so neatly. It is absolutely fantastic. Right, So there we are, 3 or 4 inches. Just take that dubbing off my fingers because it's just so fine it just sticks everywhere. Okay, so there we are. Now if you've noticed, I've left about ½ inch between the hook and the start of the dubbing, and that is to enable us to get to the back end of the hook to keep the dubbing or the body nice and smooth without lumps and bumps. So when we get to the tail, our first turn rather, is dubbing. So here we go, up the body we go, touching turns till we get to the post. Pull the post back, pass it right up to the eye, get to the eye, come back on yourself like so, come around the back, push the little pieces up, and there we are. That's our body done. I'm going to pan back in for you like so. Take the hook and adjust it so that now we can work on the post. Okay, pull the ring, but turn. Oh, come on now, a little bit fidgety. Pull the silk around, pull the post tight, pull the silk around once, twice. And we're doing this to create a nice tying base to accept our hackle. Pull it, tighten it, pull it, and when we get to that position, we should be able to just lay a few turns of silk on. Okay, now we've done this, we're ready for our hackle. Let me just take a sip of water. That's better. Okay, now for the hackle around the post, I use a genetic saddle feather. The reason being, the stalks on these feathers are so supple that when you tie them around a delicate post, they work a lot better. This is a natural dun, as you can see. It's light on the underneath and dark on top. Now we want the dark side down facing the water. So what we do, we take a few fibres and pull them off to make a tying base. The dark side towards the hook, we just place it on the post. 1, 2, 3, give me 4, and the 5th one goes back down to the edge of the body. Okay, and we just turn a hackle on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we go for one more, 6. When you've got the amount of turns that you require, just catch it in. 2, 3, pull the hackle up, and put 1 underneath. Pull it tight, pull the hackle, come in with the blade, and trim away. And that's our hackle done. The fibres out of the way. Sweep some of the fibres up. Sometimes this can be a little bit fidgety, but you'll get there. If you've got any fibres that are pushing down, just trim them away. Like so. Okay. Now, I said about pushing the hackle away from the body of the fly. We go back to our dubbing. Take a few strands, a few fibres, and we just dub it on. Push it up the silk slightly. A little bit more. so, this dubbing is so fine, it's unbelievable. And there we are. Okay. Now, so a little bit of a hackle fibre there. Put it on there. Now we hold the silk and we move the vise. Come around, keep it tight. Pull that fibre back. Rotate the vise. Keep the silk steady. You just move the silk at the bottom end of the hackle. You just lift the fibres up. Like so. Underneath. Catch it up. Underneath. You can see it starting to work. Like so, yeah? Underneath. Push it up. You always get one or two stubborn ones that don't want to do it, but we'll just trim those away later on. Underneath. So you can catch that one like that. Underneath. 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 And the last one. Underneath. We push that one through like so. Now to finish the fly, we take super glue with a brush and we just put a few dots on like so. And as we did with the hackle, turn the fly and just roll the silk underneath. Do one more. Pull the silk tight. Let the glue go off. And come in with your blade. Trim it away. Adjust the hook in the vise. Like so. Pull the wing together and create, when you're actually cutting the wing, create a triangle. So from the edges of the hackle, look up and trim it like so. So you've formed a little triangle. Push it down. And there we are. Olive done. Nice and easy. And what this does, this technique, when you actually fish the fly, the body of the fly lands and sits in the surface of the water and the hackle sits on top. So it's like an emerger. Very natural looking. And it does catch quite a few fish. Well, it has for me anyway. Hope you've enjoyed the video and thanks for watching.